The Big Footy Port Adelaide podcast is proudly sponsored by New Vision.
My team, kinda power. I love the power. I love the power.
G'day everyone, Macca 19 here from the Big Footy Port Adelaide podcast, and of course we're coming to you live once again on Port Fan Radio. And look, joining me this evening is no doubt a very, very shattered co-host, Fishing Rick. How are you, mate?
It's very sad, Macca.
It is.
You've just broken the news to me. I'm devastated.
It's terrible news. But look, I think we can pull through. We can pull through here.
I don't think it's possible. I just
look. He just would have turned the bowl over anyway and given up a couple of goals. So look, the injury to the Jasper pit dog. We will move on. Life goes on.
We won't. I think you're being very dismissive. This is like a G20 world event that's happened. And people are now going to actually appreciate the power that is Jasper Pittard. Because if we're worried about our slow around the boundary ball movement, you wait till you see Sunday. We're just going to be chip, Mark Williams the whole way. But anyway, we'll see how we go.
Look, we'll see. I can't wait for Cracker to be best on ground and Jasper to play in the Maggies next week because he can't get it going.
What the hell are you talking about? It is just
love it.
Appalling behaviour on your part here.
Take
a good look at yourself.
I will. And look, back on the podcast, but he's not with us at the moment. He'll be joining us very soon. We will be speaking with Janus.
Yeah, awesome. So we can get all the anus jokes in now while he's not here.
That's it. Yeah. We can pump them out. That's for sure.
We can pump them out. And are you excited by our new segment tonight, Macca?
Oh, thrilled to bits, mate. Thrilled.
Are you?
Yes.
And I guess we've also got a Big Footy locker room ticket to give away.
Yep.
So I think it should be to reward some sort of interaction. So hopefully there's one or two people listening. I know we're late.
We've got three people listening at the moment. So
well, then you got a 1 in 3 chance of winning. You guys awesome. You rock. So I can't even get onto my computer to post up to remind people that it was started. So blame me for that. I had an appointment. So we have to think of a way. I don't know, maybe remember how we had the Who Am I? And I gave away that last obvious question.
Yep.
Maybe it can be that everyone's forgotten, but we'll revisit it, and maybe we'll have to guess the Who Am I tonight, and whoever can guess it can they win. First in's best dressed.
Sounds good to me.
Yep, awesome. All right.
And well, do you want to get? Yes, let's do the new segment now while we're waiting for Janus.
All right, so we've got the new segment. We've got a jingle for it.
Ask Macca.
Awesome. I like the little flash. I like the flash at the end. All right. You got to be quick. All right, this is going to be a quick segment, so you can't pause and think about this stuff. We churn through. We got lots of questions too. All right. So first one, Manu Reid. Does Macca 19 love Port Power, and are they the real Port Adelaide?
Don't be stupid, Manure ID. Clearly, the real Port Adelaide is the Port Magpies.
What?
Clearly.
What the hell are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
What sort of answer is that?
Port Magpies forever, mate. Come on.
What?
Obviously, Port Power 1997 is to the side here. Port Magpies always number one, mate.
Yeah. So who's the real Port Magpies?
Who's the real Port Magpies?
Yeah.
Since 1870, buddy.
Yeah, so Port Adelaide Power.
Port Adelaide Magpies. Next
now
question.
I'm really confused. Are we talking one club?
Yes.
Wow, that's a very bipolar answer. You've perplexed me. All right, Macca, Simba.
Very easy to
You are sex. What is your secret?
I am sex. I love it. Thank you, Simba. I am the sex, and all I've got to say to that is I'm genetically gifted.
You must be. I've seen your dad. He's a very handsome man, so I can see where it comes from. Strong gene pool.
Absolutely. Indeed.
Oh, what about Strike? Strike's got one. If you could ask Ken one question about season 2015 that he had to answer 100% honestly, what would it be?
What did we do in the pre-season to cause our downturn this year?
Yes. So you think it's all back to the pre-season?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can even squirrel a bit deeper than that. I reckon it's the maybe the coaching change. I think that might have.
Well, it was one question, not 8 questions. There's probably about 15 that I could ask, but limited to one. I reckon what happened in the pre-season.
So what do you think his answer would be?
Oh, I don't know. That's not for me to answer. I don't know.
If you had
I've given my opinion throughout the season where I think we might have overtrained and all that sort of stuff, and maybe took things a little too easily or overthought our game plan a little bit and game style, and changed things that didn't really need to be changed, and probably didn't do enough ball skills. Sure.
Hong Kong Thui. If you had to drop one of Loeb or Monfries, who would it be and why?
Hong Kong Thui, clearly Lobe, because I reckon Monfries has had a pretty good season, or even a very good season, and even though maybe the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks, except for the Collingwood game, he hasn't really got a lot of the ball. He's still been doing his job defensively and shutting out some very dangerous players. Whereas Lobe's just been out of form for much of the season, and looks to have been struggling, maybe because he missed out on such a big chunk of the pre-season and missed those sort of lead-up games. But yeah, I'd definitely be dropping Lobe ahead of Monfries if that was the choice.
Fair call. Quadzilla, we've gone through this one already, but I'll ask it again quickly. I can probably even answer it for you. How did you become a Port supporter? Well, that was just born. It's in your bloodline, isn't it?
I was going for the Crows for a while and just decided to change in 2004.
What's your name, Tribey?
No. That's a big call, that one. Yeah, look, it was family. I'm a 4th or 5th generation Port fan on both sides of the family. Mum's a Sturt supporter though. Don't know how that happened. Grandpa on my mum's side was a trainer in the pre-war years. And great grandma on dad's side had a lot to do with the club through the Foss era. Lived literally a kick from the southern goals and used to board country players up through all that sort of time period up to the 80s.
Long enough. There's supposed to be quick answers, man. Come on.
That was a quick answer.
All right, Reman. Why don't you return his calls?
Ramen, I think it's pretty clear that Tribey has my heart.
Shilson Fest. Are you really the head of Quickie Mart?
Yes.
Apu. Is that your middle name?
Yes.
Serious question. Johns, who will be the biggest riser from now on to the end of the season?
Biggest riser? Is that a Port player or a team? Do you think he means?
I think I read it as a Port player.
Okay. I'm going to say Harvey. I reckon he'll keep improving and get a couple of games before the end of the season.
Really? He didn't do much last week, though. I thought he was very inconspicuous.
Well, then he will rise more, won't he?
It will be.
There you go.
It'll be, what's the word? Is it Falcon-esque? Right? Rise from the shadows?
That's it.
Andre, where were you at 2 a.m. on the night of the 14th? Your alibi is very suspect.
I was snuggling Rick.
Oh,
that's what I was doing.
What?
Should I have not given out that information?
I ate Vindaloo that night. I was a bit stinky. Stephen Crow, favourite Port player of all time for both Power and the Magpies?
Oh, look, Maggie's is easy. Scotty Hodges, followed by Roger the Dodger. Power's a bit harder. I don't actually have a standout Power favourite. I've got probably 3 or 4 on the one level, and they'd be Bowen Lockwood, Stewie Dew, Brent Guerra, and Adam Thompson.
Jeez. So mine is very similar, but you could answer it differently, so I will ask it. Fishing Rick 04, if you could be born as any player from any era, who would you choose to be?
Milan Feletic.
Really?
I think looking like the Swedish chef from the Muppets would have had its advantages in the 70s and 80s.
Raman's got another
but look, if I was to be more serious, I'd probably choose Bucky Cunningham, to be honest. He was a great player, premiership captain, awesome career, followed by a massive career in administration, and led the club into that sort of AFL era. So it would have been a really interesting time to be Bucky Cunningham, I reckon.
And for the people that are listening, feel free to tweet in what some of the answers to these questions that you would answer. And it's actually quite funny, Macca, because my first thought to that question was Bucky Cunningham. I thought exactly the same. Very underrated clubman of Port Adelaide sometimes.
Yeah. If I was to choose a Port person, I would choose Bruce Webber, because I would love to be that hated and to have caused that much crap in South Australian football, but at the same time have been one of the major causes to Port Adelaide going into the AFL.
He didn't really care though, did he? He seemed to love it.
He didn't care at all. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Reman's got another quick one. Should he get this lump checked out by a doctor?
If it's not in your pants, then yes.
I was going to say maybe he needs to get a porno mag or something. Stevens Crow, favourite big footy board moment? Court board moment?
Oh. It's got to be the meltdown at the 2006 draft. The melt over picking Travis Boak over Joel Selwood and Mitch Thorpe. And the melt at the end of the draft picking Roden, who ended up having a great career. And look, I was included in that meltdown. And it was a great time to be alive. I had great fun that day. I was I had my buck show the night before and was feeling absolutely sick as a dog. And just couldn't believe it when we picked Boak over Mitch Thorpe. But these things happen and ended up being a pretty fine pick, I reckon. But you also can't go past the trigonometry thread, I reckon, for pure lulls. And on a bit of a selfish note,
I love that. I love the avatar with the glowing eyes.
The best thing about that trigonometry thread was the black Kurt Tippett, which I have no idea where it came from, why it got made, what use it had, but suddenly there's a Kurt Tippett looking like Mahatma Ko. It was hilarious.
What about Porthos 40,000th post?
That was good. Yep, that was right up there.
That was a bit of an epic.
For a real shock and awe moment, yep.
Yeah. Janus. Oh my God, this is a long one. If we combined your ability to rate players with Russell Ebert's aesthetic knowledge and Tribe's aerobic, I can't even pronounce that, aerobic wit, would we be able to weird science the best commentator of Australian football in the history of sport?
If you added in the X factor of Boyd Man, then yes, probably.
Now that would be entertaining. All right. I think, what else we got? Let's cut down to a few. And then we've got Noobzor and Schulzenfest going on a tangent about Sam May's mum having a go at him or something. That looked pretty funny, actually. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. That was very funny.
Were Dobby G and I Love the Hoff same person?
No, they weren't.
Rising Power, are you disappointed that Eugene Warrior didn't do his knee when he returned to Port Adelaide from Norwood via Glenelg?
What a strange question. Am I disappointed he didn't do his knee?
Yeah.
I tend not to wish anyone does their knee, really. But look, Eugene Warrior gave me a wonderful moment at Richmond Oval when we came from, I think it was about 40 points down against Westies and won by a point. And Eugene Warrior had a massive part to play in that last quarter. And the amount of crap I gave Westies fans leaving the Oval, someone actually swerved and tried to hit me with their car. It was well worth it.
That just seems so unlike you. Silent Oz. Does my butt look big in this?
Yes.
Yes? Yeah, I would have said that too. We're almost at the end. St. Chris. Hair loss due to lead poisoning from living in Piri or stress due to late Williams-era coaching?
Definitely Williams-era coaching. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd imagine that too. That
final series between 2001 and 2004, I lost about 50% of my hair because of that, I reckon.
I think we all did.
And the
actually, ironically, I kept my hair stayed intact through that and through teenage children, and I seem to be losing it faster since the more and more people I put on as employees. Go figure. Axel Handel, last question, serious question. Will Jesse Palmer get a game on Sunday? If so, will he play deep up forward and move, or more up the ground in a short side role?
He won't be playing on Sunday, I would think, and therefore he will be moving between the snack bar and his seat, I think, and maybe into the change rooms at halftime.
Well, he is a half forward, isn't he?
He is, yes. So maybe if someone like Gray or Monfries or Wingard are laid out, then he might get a game. But otherwise, I would think there would only be the one change this week.
Awesome.
I reckon we might have a couple of. We've got a couple of questions on the tweets as well, mate.
Yes.
If you can read them. Oh, you can't read it? Oh,
you have to read your own question.
Well, this will be great radio, won't it? Scott S says, why are we playing on the boundary, especially transitioning from defence? I would say that would be because I have no idea. I wish we would go through the middle. Obviously, the opponents are trying to block our run through the middle, but I don't think that's a good enough response, and I think we should be trying harder, take more risks.
Can I have a guess at this one?
Yes.
I think it's because we don't have Matt White in the side anymore, and therefore we can't do the set play of running all to the flanks and leave Matt White in the middle and then try and kick it long and down the guts for him to run onto the ball.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
There you go.
Next question is from Bevan, who's Macca's thoughts on the assistant coaches this year. Should there be changes next year, i.e. Bassett or Lade? I'd love Bassett to come in. I reckon that would be great. I reckon if there's... Well, obviously, there's at least 2 coaching jobs up for offer, and there might be 3, possibly even 4. So there is a chance that that Matthew Nicks does get, one of those jobs, and we might see someone like Lade or Bassett come in. And I'd love Bassett at the club. I reckon he's a great footy mind and would add a lot to our coaching staff.
Yeah, do you reckon Nicks would still get poached? We've sort of gone a bit backwards.
Well.
And let's say the defence has lost.
Does that really matter? I don't think that matters.
The defence has lost its effectiveness.
I don't think that really matters that we've gone backwards on the form of assistant coaches. I don't think.
No, you don't think so?
No, I don't think so. No.
Interesting.
And
Rightio.
Crazy Big Al says, "Will we make the finals?" And to that, I would say no. I don't think we can.
That's what I like to hear.
Janus, here he is.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
What's going on, Janus?
Oh, not much. I just went to the Port Club and constructed my own Port Adelaide show bag, consisting of that Club 1870 backpack, one of those merino wool jumpers, and a black PA hat to complete my collection.
And how much did that set you back?
I don't know. The jumper was $100, but with the discount, it wasn't, so it was okay.
Awesome.
So almost $140. But anyway,
I want to get one of those Port Adelaide frozen beer jugs.
I saw them.
I reckon they look pretty cool. They'll be good for summer. Good summertime investment at winter.
I think they're those like the thermosy ones.
Yeah, you put them in the freezer to chill, and then you put your beer in there.
Yeah.
It keeps the beer cold.
And that's always good. It's what you want.
Absolutely. So, what are we going to rant about this week, boys? Are we shocked by the injury to Pittard and what it's going to do to us?
Shocked and stunned, mate. It's not a good thing at all. But we will move on. Look, I think he's going to be a big loss, I think, to our side. Certainly down back, and the run that he gives us across half back. Obviously Cracker will come back in and hopefully provide that run, but Pittard's a lot fitter than what Cracker is. So, hopefully if Cracker does come in, he can play out a full game.
Well, who are the other inclusions?
Andrew Moore, Aaron Young, and Jesse Palmer.
Right. Sorry, that's just the local establishment going past my office. Hopefully they're not visiting me again. So do you think Aaron Young and Andrew Moore are a chance?
No. I think we'll just make the one change. That'll be it. Don't stuff with the winning side. We had a really good win. Don't stuff it up.
Yeah. So, I mean, someone else was suggesting that maybe Matthew Loeb might be a late withdrawal for another player. That would be very dangerous, I'd imagine, against Sam Jacobs.
Jack has been doing I mean, he always seems to cut us up, but I don't know. Has he been doing particularly well this year? I haven't had a look at the stats and stuff, so I couldn't tell you either way whether it's a big deal or not.
Probably better than Loeby's form this year.
But maybe Ryder will step up to the plate and become like this Superman hero type Super Saiyan thing and just like jump over the top of him. You know?
He's not at Essendon anymore, Janus.
Well, that too.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Get him on the go-go juice.
It's called Super Juice, man.
So how do we think this unique showdown's going to play out?
Look, I think the script's going to be the same as last week for the Crows. I think they're going to come out on this emotional, supercharged ride, and I think Port's just going to have to hang in there and rebut that with their own. But I just think that this tragedy is really going to probably hold them emotionally back, and it's a tough gig for what they've got to go through. And I think we should get on top and probably be the more dominant team, I would imagine.
Mm. Yeah, I've got a big feeling it's going to be on like Donkey Kong out there, to be honest. I just have this feeling that given the emotion after the match last week against the Eagles and the funeral this week, it's going to be a bit of a cathartic moment for the Crows, and they'll be ready to move on now from the events of the last couple of weeks, and I reckon they'll be viewing this one as one of the most must-win games that they've ever had as a footy club.
Mm. Well, it is a must-win game for them, isn't it, really?
It is. I mean, they dropped out of the 8. They're half a game out. You look at the games that North, Geelong, I think Collingwood and GWS have, and they'd all be expecting to win those games, and they really don't want to fall 1.5 games behind the 8 with Sydney and Richmond coming up as well.
Yeah. I think it's going to... You're right, it's going to be a must-win game for the Crows, and Rick's right, it's going to be emotionally charged as well. But the last game that was like that for the Crows was round 2 last year, when it was the first home game, and we know what happened there. I guess the main thing for us is if we play our game and play to our potential, we should be able to do what West Coast did. But if we let them get on top at all, in terms of the emotional side of things, because whatever Crows fans that are in the crowd are going to be cheering like you wouldn't believe. And you always seem to be cheering louder when it's an away game in any sort of sport, because it's like us against them type thing. So yeah, if they get on top and get a bit of a roll happening and stuff, then, and if the crowd, which I don't know what's happened this year, but every time I've been to games and stuff, the crowd has seemed to be really subdued, like it was as if we're waiting for something to happen, something exciting to cheer about, and then it was like, yeah, you know what I mean? But
yeah, no, I agree 100% with that. I reckon our crowds this year have been a lot quiet.
But maybe that's
compared to last year.
Do the crowds dictate the play, or do the play dictate the crowds? I mean, it's hard to cheer when there's not much to cheer about. And how many wins have we had at home? 3 wins?
Yeah.
Yeah, and, we haven't really been playing blinding football where, there's, extended periods of play where it's just chant-worthy and motivating to the point where you're up and vibrant, So I think the crowd atmosphere really reflects the form of the side.
Yeah,
that's true. That's definitely true. But at the same time, you could say that just the same way that the crowd is waiting for something to happen, something to get up and cheer about, because there's not like who cheers a tackle or who cheers that. That's what people should be doing all the time. It's the same way that the players have been playing this year. They're waiting for someone else to do something really spectacular so they can all get up and, cheer it and stuff, but that's not what makes a great football side. Great football comes from doing all the little small things, as what Ken says. You do the little things right first, and then it all snowballs into one big thing. So,
can I actually while we're talking about the crowd, me and my son Tyler, we laugh about it, but we almost want the power chant to be banished forever, because every time our supporters seem to start the slow power chant, we always get goals kicked on us. It seems to be a curse for us more than anything.
I think that chance should be reserved only for when you're like 70 points up, like we were against Carlton that time, or Richmond, or something like that. But
have you guys noticed that?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
Within 2 minutes of it starting, someone like the opposition always kick a goal.
Yeah. Either us as a cheer squad, we get the timing wrong, or it's just bad luck for us. Maybe we need to reserve the chant for when there's a set shot on goal directly out 10 metres out from goal. So we've got a guarantee of getting a goal.
Yes.
Power.
Well, look, the Crows have dropped Nathan Van Berlo, a bit of a surprise there, and they've also dropped Cam Ellis-Yolman. Who do we think will come in? Because they've named Podsy Adley, they've named Lyons, Shaw, Martin, and Rory Atkins. If he plays, it'll be his debut.
The only surprise with Van Berlo was that it wasn't done sooner.
Hasn't had a good year. Hasn't had a good year at all.
Yeah.
Well, he's come back from a pretty serious injury, and he is an older fella.
Yeah.
You'd have to think maybe Lyon is going to come back in.
I would think from that, I'm thinking maybe Brody Martin and Rory Atkins.
Yeah, I don't know much about Rory Atkins, to be honest. So tell us a bit more, Macca.
Oh, he's like a midfielder / half forward. Quite quick, good skills.
Is he blonde?
He's not blonde, I don't think.
Okay.
Oh.
That's a surprise.
Well, what did you guys
Well, he wasn't
think?
a Matt Rendell selection, so all the blonde kids started going to Collingwood, I think, from there.
What about Ellis Yolman? What did you think of him as a player?
I think he reads the play exceptionally well, especially at stoppages. But his foot skills are abysmal, and that's probably one thing that's holding him back from really becoming quite a competent AFL player, I would think. But look, his ability to actually win the clearance at the stoppage is as good as anybody.
He's got a good size about him, doesn't he?
He is, yeah. He's an interesting player. He doesn't look like he should be a footballer, but he does actually play pretty well, and usually plays really well at SANFL level. So he's almost there. Maybe next year he might become a full-time, part of their sort of first 18.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know. Would maybe J-Pod get an opportunity?
It's possible, but with Walker, Lynch, Jenkins, and then they've still got Hardigan, Talia, Lever, and then Jacobs. I mean, do they really need J-Pod? I'm not sure there's a spot for him unless someone like Jenkins or Lynch is a late withdrawal.
Well, they seem to be one tall short in defence. Obviously, J-Pod must have been on the nose with the late Phil Walsh. Maybe this is his last opportunity.
Yes,
maybe they'll play him as a defender, swing forward, perhaps.
Maybe.
He wouldn't be playing next year, though, would he? Didn't he only have a 2-year current contract? So, yeah, I mean,
he's about 37 years old, so
exactly. You kind of think, what's the point? But I guess, I mean,
he was the only real person crying when Sanderson got the sack. My God, my career's screwed.
Yeah, pretty much. Probably. Is anyone concerned about the different message that's coming out from both camps this week? I mean, the Crows are all sort of, we're going to hit them hard, we're going to come out firing, and all that sort of stuff. And Porter all hugs and kisses, and the rivalry's on hold for a week, and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, but is that more about the off-field rivalry more than the on-field rivalry?
Oh, no doubt it is. But do you think that can Yeah, that can sort of ooze its way onto the park as well.
I don't think so. I think the boys will be steeling themselves for. Sorry, I'm just seeing this lip sync ad with Mike Tyson in it, and it was very disturbing. And yeah, look, I think our boys are gonna be very fired up to. I almost feel like it's been territorial. Who loves Phil Walsh more week in a way, and yeah, I think our boys are going to be coming out really wanting to do it for Phil.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue in terms of motivation. Once you cross the white line and the first bounce happens, like there might be a little bit of a lull in the first 5 minutes or something if they really want to go in hard, and you'll probably see the tone of it because you'd reckon that if the Crows reckon they're going to crash some bodies and stuff, you'd probably see a bit of, how you do before any first bounce, that whole rough housing type thing, everyone getting in with the shoulders and shit.
Well, could that actually backfire to the Crows? Like, could they be maybe too focused on the physical intimidation that they forget about the actual playing of the game?
Yeah, like you can lose yourself in the emotion of it and say, "Oh, I've got to do this," Got to get that ball, got to do that. But instead of thinking what your role is, you're thinking about what it's going to do for the rest of the team. But yeah.
Look, let's talk about some key players for the Crows. Obviously, Dangerfield, he's been in super form this year. He's probably only really behind Nat Fyfe and Dan Hanbury in terms of form and impact for the season across the whole AFL. He's in the top 20 in, I think, tackles, clearances, inside 50s and contested possessions. Do we have a player that can go with him this week, or do we put someone like Wines on him to try and stop his influence at stoppages?
Yeah, I don't think we've got a natural matchup for him. But we never seem to do a direct matchup on him. We sort of let him, we try to just apply pressure whoever's closest. I think the key for us is really to try and minimise the impact of the ruckman and getting the hit outs to the advantage. That's, I think, going to be the stronger key for us.
Yeah, I think he's one of those players that he's going to do what he does, whatever that is, whether it's playing a really good game or not, vice versa. But since we don't have a matchup, I mean, even if Kane was still playing, he still wouldn't be the right matchup for him. So, in terms of being a tagger, so I think you would probably concentrate on the other players and just let him do his thing. Maybe go head to head with the Wines and try and hurt him the other way a little bit, like you said. But yeah, we don't have anyone who's a direct thing that's going to negate him or take him out of the game completely.
If you're going to do that, though, is it worth? Do you want to? If you're going to try and hurt him the other way, would it be better to then maybe go head to head with a Travis Boak or a Robbie Gray?
I don't know. I just don't know if they've got. Yeah, I think I was agreeing with Macca purely for the fact that I think Wines has the strength to negate him in terms of his. Because from what I remember of Dangerfield, I don't really pay that much attention to him, unfortunately. But from what I remember of Dangerfield, he likes to hit the packs running past. And
well, that's what I mean. So playing Ollie Wines, who's a see ball, get ball, dive ball, get it out sort of player, matching him up on Dangerfield could run a risky game of Ollie goes to get ball and leaves Dangerfield a bit more time and space to get the opportunity to get the ball and run away with it. Whereas, or it could also mess up Ollie's game in relation to, oh shit, well, should I go for the ball or should I be sitting back watching Danger, making sure he doesn't get it? Or, are we better off just letting Ollie play his own game and going, Trav, you play on Danger, and if we get the ball, you run forward because he's probably already running forward anyway.
Yeah, when I'm saying playing him on them, I don't mean he does some sort of tagging role or anything like that. I just say he just goes. They both play exactly the same way that they should, and if Wines gets the ball first, then Dangerfield's not going to get it. It's as simple as that. And then he
I'm not
takes it away.
suggesting a tagging job. I think if you put Wines on danger at the stoppages and tell him to stop Dangerfield from getting the ball, then I think that goes a long way to us winning the game, I reckon, especially because we know that Wines is going to have that sort of impact getting in and under and getting the ball anyway. But yeah, I mean, he won't be able to go with him sort of aerobically, running up and down the park, I don't think. So, yeah. I guess the other one that's had a super good year so far is Rory Laird, who's averaging 26 touches a game over the last 9 weeks, and he's their number one rebounder from defensive 50 and plays loose a fair bit. He's had a pretty big impact this year, runs forward a lot, can kick a goal. You would think Gus Monfries might be a suitable matchup there.
The old defensive forward role
That's it.
that everyone hates.
We saw the best of Monfries last week, abandoning that role though. So, do we want to sacrifice the freedom that he played with last week to constrict him into that sort of negative role again?
Well, it's $1 million question, really, isn't it? I mean, even though, as I said, with one of those pre-podcast questions, Rick, I mean, even though he wasn't getting a lot of the ball, he was still doing a fantastic job defensively. Over the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks. So, he's shut down some pretty good players this year. And if we can shut down Rory Laird, I mean, that's a large chunk of their sort of rebounding ability gone from the game.
I think there's a bit of a difference between saying, "Oh, shut him down," doesn't mean you don't score at all.
It means
you know
make
what I
him
mean?
accountable.
Yeah, just, so you can do both in a perfect world and still, lead for the ball and do all the things that forward's supposed to do. But then when the ball turns over in transition, then you switch over to that defensive mindset. And I think that's probably a problem that a lot of our players haven't quite got yet this year, that whole phase in transition of going from defense to attack and vice versa. They don't, because they're like, "Oh, I'm afraid I'm going to be caught out doing something else over here, so I won't go that way. So I'll stay here so that if something bad happens, I'm set, I'm right." And that's just not the way you want to do it. You want to play that brave football that Ken Hinckley talks about. And again, everyone hates hearing now because it doesn't seem to be doing it this year. But yeah, that's what he's talking about, I think, anyway.
Yeah.
Well, what about, is the main man Eddie Betts probably one of our biggest issues, and he probably really highlighted the form slump that Tom Janus has been in this year in round 5, because he really pantsed Tommy J. But it seemed to be like we were happy to lose that battle to win the war overall. Yeah. Is that maybe the same sort of attitude we're going to go with in this game as well?
Quite possibly. I mean, he's certainly the biggest X factor in the game. He's kicked 13 goals in the 3 games against Port since crossing to the Crows. And I don't know. I mean, with Janus out of the side, is Impey the most natural opponent for him? I mean, he burnt him twice last year. Do we play cracker on him? Is he going to be able to go with him the whole game? I mean, it's a tricky matchup.
I think
it is a tricky matchup.
You keep playing Impey on him first to get him that experience and that confidence is not the right word, because confidence means that you're actually succeeding, because you might not succeed, but you know what I mean? Like that whole get it used to what those particular forwards are doing, so therefore it increases your wisdom and your knowledge about, okay, he's going to do this now, so I know that. So next time he plays, as long as Impey keeps improving each time he plays on him at the start, then that's all you can ask for. Whether we stay with that for the rest of the game remains to be seen, but you're probably going to find it's going to be a combination effort in the end.
Would you go with the taller player of Cam O'Shea, which seems to be something we like to do, try and match up with a taller player on Eddie Betts?
It's a tough call. I don't think O'Shea's smart enough to play on Eddie Betts, to be honest. I think Cam O'Shea dropping back in front of Eddie Betts might be a good strategy to have, and as long as we got someone behind him as well, I think that might work out pretty well. But I would almost be thinking Cam O'Shea will be playing on Tom Lynch, I would think.
Not Tom Cleary?
I mean, Cleary's another option that could play on Lynch, or he might get Jenkins. I don't know. Trent goes there as well, so he'll probably get Jenkins. At least we've got a lot of options.
Yeah.
And then it depends if Podsiadly does play. I mean, if J-Pod does play, and then that means Cleary will be taken up with the J-Pod, you would think.
Yeah. It's quite interesting, isn't it? It's. I know you hate the showdowns, don't you, Macca?
Yes, I don't like them at all.
From a result perspective.
Yeah, I just can't enjoy them until we've got the game basically sewn up.
Yeah.
And then it becomes enjoyable. But I don't know, this one's a bit different because of the Phil Walsh thing. This one's a bit different. I'm feeling a bit more relaxed about this one.
Yeah. It's
maybe it's because I feel like our season's almost pretty much over. There's not really a hell of a lot riding on this game as there was the second match last year or the first match this year.
Yeah, well, I guess for me, it's just about seeing improvement from here on in, and I want to see faith that our players and game plan are going in the right direction more than finals. And if that means we end up finishing ninth, and miss out on finals, well, that's the kick up the arse we deserve. But I'd rather see us win, 6 or 7 or 8 of our last 8 games rather than lose 6 of them and finish down near the bottom trying to tank for a draft pick. And hopefully our players, we need to see O'Shea sort of continue on an upward form trend and Jarman Impey keep showing what he's doing and those young players keep improving and, at least I can take something away from this season if that's the case. Because we don't tank at Port.
It ain't over till it's over.
Hey?
It ain't over till it's over. That's all I say.
Well, it isn't. But I mean, it just sucks when you got to rely on results going your way to sort of be hanging in the season. We sort of needed in a way the Bulldogs to lose last week, and they've got a pretty soft draw. GWS don't have a hard draw, and they're the teams that I guess we're going to be vying for with those final positions. So, but it isn't over until it's over. So, and a win this week will go a long way. And at least there's going to be cracking conditions too. A nice sunshiny day for a change over the last few weeks. So that's going to help with the quality of football as well.
Yeah. I guess the other key factor would be the ruck duel between Jacobs and Lobie and Ryder. I think the Lobie and Ryder combo worked him over in round 5. I think we had something like 60 hitouts to 39 or something like that. And Jacobs seems to waver between being either best on ground or being absolutely thrashed in showdowns. It doesn't really seem to be much middle ground in the ruck contest in showdowns. So, how do we feel this one's going to play out this weekend?
Well, fit Lobie and a fit Ryder, you would think would be able to overpower Sam Jacobs, I would think. Lobie on his own, as we've seen in the past, not necessarily. Ryder on his own, I'm not convinced with. I'm still not sure where Ryder's form is, but collectively they should be able to mix and match and create enough confusion and variety to be able to cause some issues.
Will we see something like what we saw against Geelong where they played Blitz, Sarves and Stanley against Lobie by himself? Do you think we might see a Lobie and Ryder dual ruck combo working over Jacobs?
Well, we seem to be going hard in this 2 ruck, 3rd man up situation the last couple of weeks, don't we? So maybe that's going to be our agenda again. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm a bit worried about Jacobs, actually, to be honest. I think...
well, he's a worrying player.
He is. I don't think our rucks are in great form. And, I'm a bit worried that he might be able to get on top. And if he gets on top, then it can be a real worry for our midfield.
You'll know in the first 10 minutes. If he trips over his own feet and kicks a goal, then it's going to be a poor day. Or poor day.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Well,
How
I
do we
hope
see
not, because I can't go on another drinking binge again. So, not after last week.
That's it. How do we see the matchups up forward playing out? Do you think Talia will get Schultz, or do you think he'll play on Westhoff?
Can he run with Westhoff?
He has. He did twice last year.
Yeah, I can't remember. How'd he go?
Well, he beat him both times. So.
Well, then you'd think he'd go with Westhoff, especially after Westhoff's output last week. They'd probably be pretty worried about Westhoff's influence, I would imagine. Which means if that's the case, well, I guess he's just a stopper, isn't he? Because you wouldn't really play Westhoff in some sort of decoy role to take him out of the play, would you? I guess you'd maybe just try and run Westhoff more around the pack and the ball, I guess, to try and shake him loose a little bit. I imagine that'd probably be the best way to try and go.
Probably, yeah. I mean, Hardigan's probably the more natural matchup for Schultz as well. He's probably got the size to sort of wrestle him out of the play and maybe keep up with him. And I don't know, Jakey Lever on Patrick Ryder, that's probably going to be an interesting matchup.
You're a big rap for Hardigan as a player, though, aren't you, Macca?
No, he's awful.
Yeah? I thought you thought he was one of the best up-and-coming defenders going around.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah?
Just like Nathan Loney was hard as nails.
Good old Loney.
Having
that's
said that, now watch
sensitive.
Kyle Hardigan keep Jay Schultz scoreless or something like that, just to rub it in.
Well, we need I guess the key to winning in this one is Schultz to kick more than one goal, because the stats they were thrown around last week were that if Schultz kicks multiple goals, Port Adelaide win. So
it does happen.
We want to see Schultz kick 2 goals in the first quarter, and then we're laughing.
That's it.
I think we put Janus to sleep.
No, I've got nothing to say. You've covered everything that I could possibly say.
Don't lie. You're actually rolling around on your bed in your new port gear, aren't you? You're like, yeah, I don't care what those boys are saying. I got my top and my jumper. Damn it, Rick's right. I should have got that bloody chiller mug too. Damn it all.
I did pick it up and looked at it and went, what is this thing? But anyway.
Sorry, I
Chiller
couldn't
mug.
help myself. And I guess for one, I don't know. How do you guys feel about this whole Phil Walsh thing? To me, I feel like it's now dragging on a little bit. From a supporter's perspective, I can imagine internally, like the players and the coaching, like the club itself, I can see like the respect being given to Phil internally, but from a supporter, I feel like last week was the tribute for Phil, and I feel like now it's just sort of going a little bit over the top,
Turning into a bit of a circus.
It's probably just a
does
bit
that make-
unfortunate that the fixture has played out how it has
Yeah.
since it happened. I mean, if the showdown was, say, in round 20, I don't think anyone would bat an eyelid that, we're going to do a joint banner and a joint march and there's going to be a minute silence and all that sort of stuff. But just for the fact that, unfortunately, it's played out that for the second week in a row we're going to have this, and then for the Crows, you would think next week they're going to have it again for their first home game.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably has dragged on, but I mean, it's probably a worthwhile thing to do. And for me, I mean, I think it's fair enough that we have a joint.
Who's
tribute
it
with the
worthwhile
Crows.
for?
I think it's worthwhile for the supporters and for the players and the staff to remember Phil Walsh in a game against the two clubs where he had the biggest impact.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we did it last week as supporters. The players can do their own respectful things for as long as they want behind closed doors.
Sure,
Just
but it's also to
as a-
be respectful for the Crows fans that are going to be there who haven't had the opportunity to go through
Well, they
this
can.
yet.
They get that opportunity next week. I'm sure there's going to be a fantastic celebration of life at their home game next week for the Crows faithful to collectively celebrate what Phil did and his influence in the AFL and in his short time at the Crows. So, yeah, to me, I just feel like we've done it. We've done it from a supporter's perspective last week, and I was just fearful that this was going to become a bit of a circus and played on with the media and everything else and sort of drawn out. And yeah, I think for the family's perspective as well, they need an opportunity to move on, and as it's dwelled on in the footy circles and the media, that makes it a bit more difficult as well.
I disagree. I don't know. I mean, with the J-Mac situation, if we had played Collingwood in, say, round 3, 4 or 5, knowing that we had the minute silence and all that sort of stuff against GWS in round 2, I don't think we'd still be sitting here saying, oh, it's too much, it's a bit of a circus.
But you are in touch with your emotions.
I am. I'm an emotional fella.
You are.
I just think it's respectful, and it was always going to happen. The first showdown, after this happened, there was always going to be a joint tribute. It just happens to be 2 weeks after it happened, and the week after we've already had a tribute for ourselves anyway. So
I do like the medal.
I don't mind. And this will be it. I mean, for Port, this will be it. After this, it's back to normal.
It's just because we've got 2 home games in a row, pretty much. That's what it is. If it was like a normal,
but it's our home. It's our home game. It's not the Crows' home.
Yeah.
So we don't have to pander to the Crows.
Sometimes
I don't think we are pandering to the Crows. I think we're doing the right thing by having a joint tribute at the 2 clubs that he had the biggest impact.
So what's it got to do with the Crows? And did he have a big impact at the Crows? What was he there for? He was there for 8 months.
He was their coach.
He was there for 8 months. That's it.
He was their coach.
He probably had more impact at Geelong.
Oh, Rick. Jeez.
How long was he at Geelong for? Years.
Don't make me edit all this out, Rick. The edit hammer is coming out tonight.
No, you better not. It's a fair point. I'm not the only. I'm not the only supporter that's bloody that feels like this.
I think no doubt. I think there's other people that feel like this as well, and I think your opinion is valid, but I personally disagree.
Yeah, well, that's fine. You can disagree.
Yes.
Even though if you disagree with me, that means you're wrong, because I'm always right.
Yeah, that's not true at all. But look, let's move on. And who's going to win the game, and who's going to win the Phil Walsh medal?
I like the medal. I think the medal's good, and I hope next year it becomes the Bailey Walsh medal.
Yeah, that's a good call. That's a good call.
That would be my preference. I would like that.
Yep.
Who's going to win, Janus?
Port, and I reckon by around about 13 points.
Best player?
Really close. Justin Westhoff. I reckon the half will just run right.
And what crowd will we get?
50,336.
Is that pre or post the stuffing around with the figures by the SMA?
That's pre. Post will be 49,700 and whatever.
Do you guys reckon there was more than 45,000 people there on Thursday night?
I was surprised that it actually came out like 45,000.
It was a cracker of a crowd.
I thought it looked more like about 42 or 43.
Oh, really? I thought it was more 48, 49, but there you go. Anyway.
Can you really eyeball 3,000 people, 2,000 people?
It's hard to tell because of the rain. So many people went inside or went undercover. It was pretty hard to tell in the end. But
yeah.
So what,
Rick, what are your thoughts?
Oh, well, I was waiting for you to guess first.
Okay.
I'm going to
say the crowd's going to be pre the stuffing around with the figures. I'm going to say 52,610. I reckon it's going to be absolutely jam-packed. And I'm going to pick... I think the Crows have more riding on this game. I think their emotions will be more in check this week. And I think they're going to come out and win by 52 points. And I'm going to say Brodie Smith will win the Phil Walsh medal.
You are a disgrace.
Then it really will be over. It will be over if that happens.
Don't say that because my staff won't see me on Monday because I'll be absolutely plastered if that's what happens. That will just be not appropriate at all. I reckon it's going to be 53,000. I reckon it's going to be a record breaker.
Fair enough.
People will be hanging from the rafters with this morbid fascination to absorb the memorial that's going on. And I'm saying Port Adelaide by 49 points because the Crows are going to crumble under the emotional stress of it all. And Chad Wingard with 6 goals is going to be the man.
All right,
Awesome.
well, we might leave it there for now, I think, after that wonderful finish to the podcast.
Well, the Aussie...
And look,
the Aussies
I've got to say, I've done some research while we've been posting here, and it looks like I did back when I was 18. I did write a post when Eugene Warrior came back to the club that I hoped he did his knee in his first game. So there you go. the things you say when you're an 18-year-old, eh?
Hey, we forgot we're supposed to give away a football ticket.
Oh, shit. That's true. Who wants a football ticket? Someone ring up now and get a footy ticket.
We'll waffle on for a minute. If someone calls up, we'll give away the footy ticket.
So what sort of footy ticket is it, Rick?
It's a locker room ticket.
Awesome. St. Chris, you are going to the locker room. Well done.
Well done, St. Chris. I don't know what the hell happened there,
Fantastic.
Macca.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. We'll let Forza Port know, and he'll get it to you.
That's it.
And get that
Good
direct
work.
link going, Macca.
We did that very well then. That was very professional.
Well, I got muted, hung up on, and then I was on hold. So don't know what happened there. But it's a cracker
Perfect
of a game
radio.
to get a free. It's a cracker of a game to get a free ticket to the locker room, though.
The Showdown. That's incredible. That
How
is
about you,
incredible.
Mr. Before the Bounce, Macca?
I will be doing the before the bounce in my suit and 3-course meal and drinks and.
Who are you going with?
Oh, my old man. He got some tickets, so
Jeez, he gets around, doesn't he? He gets in all the
He
good
does.
seats.
he does. Yeah,
He does well.
he's done very well. Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you go to the footy with your old man most weeks?
Me? Yeah,
Yeah.
every week. Yep.
Yeah. I'm actually thinking about next year just ditching the corporate tickets and just sitting with my son. That's probably the one thing I miss, not sitting with my boy. He's got to sit in a different spot because he's not worth $250 a ticket. Sorry, Ty. So I reckon next year I might ditch the corp and just sit with him and watch the footy.
Good stuff. We are still live here, Rick, as well. While we're
That's
having
right.
this very intimate discussion about our families.
That's all right. He doesn't listen to the show anyway, so it's all good.
Janus, are you still with us? Or did you drop out in the great crash of 10 o'clock?
No, I'm still here. Although I did crash
There he is.
out.
You did crap out,
I did crap. Both of them.
crash, crack. You're just
Crash
rolling
out.
around in your new footy Guernsey. That's what you're doing. Yeah, port porn. I need the port.
On this wonderful note, I'm going to hang up from everyone and say, count the pair.
Go to power.
And the pair!
That was he.
Gray was brave, running hard, Moore getting forward. One last chance, Boat brilliant, Wines, Monfrey's centering ball, Cassisi, Wingard! You know who again?
It is his birthday.
Kid's a freak.